Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have Lord Vedor versus Modulo on the map Desolation. We saw this map fairly recently where Sash Karin did some ridiculous D-guns in this bottom corner here against like 6 LLTs and somehow survived. So let's see if we have some same sort of play here from Modulo and Lord Vedor. So if you haven't seen this map before, and you missed that other one, go check it out. But I'll give you a quick rundown of this map for you. So obviously there are two sets of high grounds in the bottom left and top right. Why it keeps drawing that extra line, I don't know. Forget it. There you go. You get it. We have several metal points. Only the one way up and down does make it a bit difficult to contest. Generally, though, what we see is the map split like this. With, well, actually, it's more like this. With Vedor being able to get this triple max, but not really able to push further this way. And Modulo able to get this triple max, but not able to push up the hill. The reason for that is this hill will provide a good high ground advantage for units, but also it's more efficient for Modulo to push straight down this way towards Vedor and being able to attack his base. The one thing to worry about, though, is this high ground position here. This is fairly difficult to control, this middle section, because if Vedor is pushed up to here and Modulo to here, there's nothing stopping Vedor from repositioning his army to here or to come around from the back and take out Vedor's forces on this left-hand side, or Modulo's forces on the left-hand side. So we'll see how it goes and who picks out what. As we zoom in on the players, Vedor has chosen to play Cortex this time and has chosen vehicles, pushing out scouts early on with a construction bot and then some incisors. Not really building any more economy with his commander, using his commander to push out build power right now. The early construction vehicle being defended by a couple of scouts, or a single scout, which is about to get killed. Question is, can Modulo rush units to defend? And the incisor rocks up. That should be enough to defend this construction vehicle. So that vehicle will be fine. As we look over, though, Modulo going for scout, con, incisor, con, incisors, con, incisors, con, with different varied amounts of incisors in those pools. There's a lot of constructors in that mix there, and the first major difference is Modulo moving his commander out of the base, to be fair though, at the same time as Vedor, but going in very different directions. We see on the mini-map here that Vedor is pushing his commander this way, but Modulo is pushing directly up. Now, their commanders will now interject with each other if they continue on that path. Which, if that's the case, what we'll probably see happen is commanders will push towards each other and units will push in the opposite lane. Because as long as you control the two high grounds, realistically, the map is a map of 2 lanes. Vedor, though, seeming like he was actually just building the LLT to defend, not getting these 2 metal points. That may be a bit of a mistake. He's got a construction vehicle here not doing anything. Also, we can see he's completely ignored that metal extractor there as well. And some early mistakes from Vedor here. Obviously miscued that one as well. Vedor's com now walking to those extra metal points, but still. Modulo extremely struggling for energy though at the moment. Very, very low energy income. Needs to get on that windmill game. Instead, got 2 cons working on the factory to push units out. Not got anything queued up, just like in the background here, pumping a load out. He is investing a lot, though, into defense. With 2 LLTs here defending his flank from any scout unit. LLTs on every kind of position here at the front. Which does mean that he is going to be lacking in units due to the fact that he's invested so much into defenses. Now, hopefully he can make that back with the LLTs and kill enough of Vedor's units to make that investment worth it. He will be getting free scouts here. Saying that, there is a gap there that Theory Vedor could make use of. See the LLT? Oh, he should have a range, but it doesn't show up right now. Vedor, though, pushing very slowly out of his base. We can see that Modulo in a lot better of a position, actually already queuing up defenses. Oh, actually, his defenses are queued up very, very late here. Going radar, then metal extractors, then LLTs. I would have presumed he would have preferred to get the LLTs done first. And with that comes a push on this bottom side. As Vedor slowly makes his way up the hill. Oh, changing his mind, it seems. Does make sense to build LLTs on a better position along here to stop Vedor pushing up, but what does Modulo know? As radar goes up here, got a good amount of radar coverage across the map. Could do with one in the middle maybe, but as we select Vedor, though, Vedor with a lot less radar coverage. But with the commander slowly pushing on that north side, Modulo in a pretty good position here. Although extremely struggling with energy this entire game. Modulo, though, switching over to brutes. And everything is currently advantage. Modulo, his expansion has been a lot quicker than Vedor's. Vedor is lacking behind substantially when it comes to expansion. Both players just kind of slowly building up. Vedor investing quite a lot onto LLTs just positioned in this middle section around a triple metal extractor. And both players really strapped for cash right now. And this may be perfect timing for Modulo. Oh, I was about to say, if these incisors went up the hill, he would have been able to sandwich them between the brutes and the incisors, and that would have been bad. Very bad for Vedor. But not a single pounder mixed into this brute army, which would be somewhat useful to maybe have 1 or 2 just in there to kind of cause problems for the incisors, but the speed of them is a bit of a problem. You can see the brutes are just able to get some attrition of units trying to chase them down. Meanwhile, Modulo just walking slowly closer and closer. The problem is he's investing a lot of LLTs in here, but he could just have an artillery position up here, and that would kind of completely nullify all of those LLTs. This is a basic LLT being positioned here. It's not a HLT or twin guard, so it doesn't have any real benefits over a standard defense. And also some investment into air defense here by Modulo. Now, there's too many LLTs here for a sane person to walk into to degun. Saying that, we did see Sash Corrin dig that. So, who knows? But honestly, it just looks like Modulo is building a lot of LLTs. Seems like a little bit of a waste. And Modulo's given Vedor some time to get some of his own brutes here. Now again, whilst he still has access to this ramp, or even this ramp, seeing maybe an artillery or two out to just like position it up here to just hit those LLTs would be a very, very good use of the area that he's got available to him. Modulo is apparently in advantage right now when it comes to army value. As we press shift space, we can have a look at what each player is building. Just brutes coming out from Vedor, whereas Modulo is going brutes, pounders, missile trucks, scouts. But will Vedor manage to make a bit of a dent here as he manages to climb the hill? He does climb the hill into the LLTs. All the incisors of Modulo pretty much killed here. No self-destruct from the LLTs here to try and save this force. But Vedor's forces managed to get mopped up pretty effectively there. And 1.8k worth of metal now available for Modulo to invest into, I'm guessing, more random walls of LLTs. Seems to be his favorite thing to do. For some reason, then, Modulo now wasting time with his commander here, walking all the way back to then walking forward again. Bit of a waste. What do we expect to see happen now, though? Well, the game's become a bit of a stalemate. We're 11 minutes in. Looks like Vedor's probably going to go for bombers. Potentially could go shurikens here. But with Modulo already having missile trucks, it seems like a bit of a waste to go shurikens. So I'm expecting him to go bombers to hit the economy of Modulo to slow him down, then probably transition into Tech 2. With then a mixture of maybe Zars and Banishers to probably push down Modulo. Modulo, on the other hand, looks like he's going to try and push this top right-hand corner. He hasn't got air himself whatsoever. I think he's in a position to be winning right now. I think he's going to try and double down on Tech 1 until he notices the Tech 2 coming out from Vedor. Modulo is in a very strong position here, so it makes sense. You can see him trying to build up a bit of a force here to push this high ground. And it makes sense. Vedor is in a bit of a tough spot. The impulse from these pounders causing Modulo some problems as he pushes into with brutes. That was a lot of lost brutes there. At least 3 for only a single pounder. It's not a great trade. Oh, interesting. Not a single bomber out from Vedor at all. Okay. Just building a few fighters. That's it. We can see the missile trucks over here. Just whittling down the LLTs that were built by Vedor. And this is exactly what I mean by... You know, LLTs are great and all, but... they're not a long-term defense. Vedor actually positioning his bomb here in an attempt to de-gun stuff as it comes up the hill, but vision is there. Modulo's units know the commander is in that position. And set target has also been done here. De-gun manages to get a brute. Now a second brute. Really difficult to kind of skirt around on this hill with vehicles. The Vedor's calmed down to half health, having to fall back now. Meanwhile, this fight at the bottom, kind of a fight took place, kind of it didn't. But this could be dangerous. Vedor now has his forces out of position. And a very, very large quantity of units are making their way straight towards Modulo's commander. Now, Modulo does have a... well, did have a good position for his commander to degun. He doesn't have the energy to do that, but he did have a good position. Now, these are all brutes, so maybe switching over to shurikens would be a great call right now to stop this push. At the same time, Modulo seems to be going quite heavily on Vedor's commander up here, but it's not going to be enough as he's forced to fall back. But this is a lot of damage that's about to be inflicted to Modulo, losing a huge amount of energy. He was already really struggling with energy here. But these tanks are just managed to push straight through. Shuriken comes out way too slow here. And the bomber just doing more friendly fire damage, if anything. And that is an almost entire base loss for Modulo. That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt a lot. No con turrets left at all. And these tanks are still alive. The bomber did go out and try to get a hit, but nothing actually came through in the end. A single solar left alive, but more tanks are on the way through, and there's also a pounder left alive here. Modulo desperately trying to build more energy production now with his commander. Look how much metal he's got. And you can see metal excess creeping up very quickly. 1.4k metal accessing right now. A huge amount of metal excess. And this is Vedor's opportunity now to go to Tech 2 pretty freely if he wants to. Or he can double down on Tech 1 and go for the complete base win. Making the most of resbots there to get all of these units res. You can see all of this army here that's coming in now as a follow-up is resurrected. But with units able to drive these off, it seems. Question is how quickly can Modulo get back up and running? So one thing of note is that Modulo did do some damage. He's taken all of the metal extractors out on that high ground. Now, it's nowhere near as impactful as losing pretty much your entire energy production. But it's still a lot of metal, and you can see that metal a second right now is 0. Both players are on identical metal production. Even with there being metal extractors in the base that Modulo is missing. Modulo also still accessing a tremendous amount of metal. Surprising that he's invested into so many solars with his commander when he should probably be investing into solars so that he can reclaim them afterwards. Does seem like he's getting a bot lab up here with the intention of rezzing it. Using some tanks to push into this mess of an LLT maze. And all of those LLTs gone. Would have kind of seemed more effective for the walls to be just a straight line, completely blocking the path. But that's not what was built by Modulo. Question is, how quickly can Modulo get this back up and running? You can see him pumping out solars pretty quickly here. This con is stuck behind this factory. Even more so the fact that he's now just built a solar there. Come on, Modulo, I believe in you. Even with 2k metal wasted. This poor con. Stuck. Come on. Path. Oh, he's literally stuck. So it can't path this way because all this is blocked off. can't path that way because that's blocked. Literally is stuck in there. Well, that's unfortunate for Modulo. He's not really paying attention to that either. Also, clearly not paying attention to this as this army barrels its way down from the north. Modulo is still with no energy here and no units. The energy he did rebuild now about to get destroyed. And it just shows how one push through can make a huge difference. Meanwhile, on the second screen, you can see the other army fighting in the corner. Modulo's commander, decloaked, gets 4 units with a D gun. But in a good position now. Better just applying more and more pressure. No Tech 2 at all from Vedor either. And Modulo just in a really bad position. If Vedor keeps throwing units, and if those units keep leaving wrecked, and then if Modulo is able to resurrect those units, then we may be able to see a comeback from Modulo. The problem is, what's his vision? There are too many angles for Modulo to defend right now, and also there are resbots ready behind. Modulo does not have the units necessary to defend against this sheer onslaught that is happening against him right now, to the point where Vedor is actually overflowing metal himself here. A very small amount though when compared to Modulo. And at least with having solar as the majority of his energy production here, it is a lot more steadier. The advanced solars though, not quite so much. Managing to get some build power and advanced solar as well as a few other bits and bobs. But there is a lot of reclaim to be had. 2.74 at the bottom, 1.56 at the top. If Modulo can get all of these units rezzed, who knows? Question is how long is it going to take before, there we go, Vedor goes Tech 2. This will be enough to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. Now the question is Vedor going to push for the win here, or is he going to take some time, eco up? Now, you would think he would just push for the win. He does have a bit of a problem, because yes, resbots are piling up here and doing their job of resurrecting all of the units. And there is a big chunk, surprisingly, army value is advantage Modulo because of the time taken to get Tech 2 up and running. Has proven to do Modulo a favor though, giving him a bit of a reprieve. Also with mines being built here as well, it's going to be hard for Tech 1 units to push through effectively. He needs to make sure he's not going to engage on those mines though. But being able to hold these corner mechs has definitely kept Modulo alive. He's only just now starting to re-expand. Resbots are slowly doing their work around the map. Meanwhile, a few splinter forces doing what they need to do, causing a bit of a harass to Vedor, trying to reduce some of his upkeep income rather. I'm not continuing that attack, surprisingly. Okay, so with Tigers now on the field, Modulo would have got the alert saying Tech 2 units detected. And again, Modulo positioning his forces in a defensive posture to cover the high ground, rather than to cover the approach to his base. Now, I know he's trying to protect these metal extractors, but he's opening himself up to another push into his base. This time, though, Modulo seeming to, do the exact same thing again. Pushing into the base through the hole he's just presented himself. And Tigers just make a very short work of Modulo's army. Though he's not really able to do anything. Question is there enough units here to stop this? Yeah, another push down this hole that Modulo just presented. Some shurikens. Now the Tech 2 push we'll have on the other screen. Shuriken's actually finally doing enough of the work here to stop this attack. And with that pretty much mopped up, a switch over now. It looks like the mines pretty much shut down that entire push. And no transition to Tech 2 from Modulo at all. Modulo still with energy issues right now. Desperately trying to resurrect the 4K metal he has in his base. 4K metal over here though as well. Is Vedor having to build a bot lab right on the front here to try and get some res bots out to get some of this, but he does already have 2 cons eating all of that metal up. I don't know what Modulo could do here, other than what he's just about to do. Push in from some different angles, try and get some damage done from elsewhere, but there's a lot of defenses up here, and Tech 2 defenses are starting to go up as well. Gotta prove difficult to push into that with Tech 1 soon enough. Meanwhile, these brutes are not really gonna work pushing into this many Tigers now. Not able to really kill a single one. Modulo does manage to get in, but this Scorpion is about to go up very quickly. And rather than making the most of this and pushing even further into the back line to try and get some damage, he's just skirting the edge, not paying attention. And now that that pop-up is up, that's it. No more getting into that area with just a few units. Missed opportunity. These Tigers did push a bit too far forward here. And the question is who gets that reclaim field? Modulo pushing more tanks into mines. Completely shutting down that push. And it just proves how effective mines are. He could build a Juno to deal with that, but instead, no. 4K metal over here, ready to rock. No resbots from Modulo over that direction at all. Which is surprising, but that's because he's still got a bunch of units back at base that he's trying to go. And finally Modulo with a transition over to Tech 2 himself. And we're hitting the 28-minute mark. And no player really with a win in hand. Looking at the numbers, you would think, well, Vedor's got this in the bag. But army value currently, advantage Modulo. Everything else is, you know, advantage Vedor. But there's a good chunk of about 4K metal that's in a pretty strong position for Modulo to control. Shurikens, though, now coming out from Vedor himself. They need to get those res bots rather than the tigers, really. But with Tech 2 defenses going up directly outside of the base here, yeah, I don't see Modulo being able to push in here with Tech 1 for much longer. Maybe interesting to see a bombing run. A lot of wind here. If it was spread out, bombing run could do a lot of damage. Not much AA is left, just a few fighters. But a lot of that reclaim was managed to be retrieved by Modulo. Metal produced, though, is still a huge difference. 87k to 73k. And as Modulo again runs up the hill to escape, he just opens up a path for all of these tigers to run directly to his base. I don't understand why he keeps trying to run up here. And now there's a Tsar on the field. Banishers coming out from Modulo. I think this is the push that's going to win it, though. Modulo's units very far out of the way. Still not making a move. Having to climb up this hill to then come down. It's going to take too long for those units to get there. And the Banisher shot also eaten up by the aircraft rather than actual units that need to be hit. And unless he sees some amazing D-guns here by Modulo, I don't see him able to stop this push. Modulo moving into position. Here come the Shurikens. They're doing some decent work. Modulo's commander decloaks. If that fusion goes, though, it's going to be difficult for him to rebuild. And there goes the fusion. And that's got to be it this time. Tsar gets taken out. Modulo calls the GG. And to be honest with you, Modulo kind of lost that one himself. Multiple times he positioned his forces that just gave his opponent a straight shot at his base. And I mean, I understand why he was doing it. He was doing it so he could protect the metal extractors he had on this high ground position. But he lost his base once because he did that, and then again, right at the end, giving your opponent's tigers a straight shot at your base, he's just going to take it. And rather than rushing down behind to chase them, to get like flanking damage from behind or whatnot, he chose to try and continue climbing the hill, which is slower for him than his opponent going straight towards the factory. And then running along and then coming back down. It's just didn't work out for him at all the first time, and then also obviously the second time. But you can see that metal used was very similar pretty much the whole game until this point. And metal produced, Modulo was actually ahead. His build at the early game was very much ahead. Vedor was really like behind for a while, but he just wasn't able to keep up after losing his base the first time. Pretty much all there is to it. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.